Hi there, and welcome to Ottawa Pianos. My name is Leanna, and I have the privilege of showing you this beautiful piano behind me, which is the Steinway K52 Vertigrand. The Steinway K52 Vertigrand was first introduced to the market in 1902, though this particular instrument behind me was built in 1912. Now, something that's really cool about this piano is that we have here the original advertisement. Now, when it was first being introduced to the market, it was being sold for $500. We are not currently selling it for $500 because that amount of money has a very different value today than it did 100 years ago. But it's still a wonderful instrument and has a lot of very cool qualities. An instrument that has been around for this long, one that's been on the market for that long, definitely has an interesting history, and a lot of people who are very well known in the music world have had things to say about the Steinway Vertigrand. So Gustav Mahler, who was an incredible romantic composer, very well known for a big brassy sound in his symphonies, had said that he never believed, and this is paraphrased, that an upright piano could provide a musician with everything that they would need musically from the piano. However, the K52 changed his mind, and that can definitely be attributed to the fact that this is a big upright. It is 52 inches in height, and that's pretty tall for an upright piano. The Beatles also had recorded on this piano for various songs, including Obla Di Obla Da, and so it's kind of cool to see an instrument like this that has been played by people like Gustav Mahler, who was a romantic composer, and also the Beatles, who were a lot more pop-centered. So, now this particular piano, while it wasn't actually played by the Beatles, this exact one sitting behind me, it's not played by the Beatles, but it is pretty old. And as I mentioned, it's from 1912, and it still has the beautiful soundboard, and it has the incredible Steinway sound. These pianos were made in New York and Hamburg, and this one particularly was made in the New York factory. And it really does give that big sound, but it also still has that house piano sound that you get from most uprights. So the first piece that I would like to show you on this instrument is the third movement, the theme, from Mozart's K284 Piano Sonata. And the reason why I've picked this piece is because I really want you to hear how simple of a sound you can get from this piano. I've talked already about how it's got this big, beautiful sound that Mahler loved, but uprights are meant to be played in the home, and I think it's really cool that you can get a fun little bouncy tone in Mozart from this piano behind me. It's really quite interesting to get the character differences, and they're just so nuanced and they're so slight, and they're just very similar colors in sound, if you will, to each other that I'll be trying to get from this theme, and you can still hear that little nuance that this piano can provide me, which is really cool. Switching gears from Mozart, let's move along from classical into late classical and early romantic. So Mozart was really the pioneer of the classical era. He was really one of the pioneers anyway. You can't forget the Haydns of the world and the Haydn's beautiful sonatas, but Mozart sonatas were pretty popular. He wrote a lot of them. But Beethoven kind of took that Mozart and he ran with it. And so he had 32 sonatas, and he also wrote his piano concertos, which were extremely popular in his day and are still popular today. So I'm going to play a little bit of his fifth piano concerto, and I'll play the opening cadenza. This concerto is titled Emperor. And so piano concertos are set up on stage in a way where the solo piano is at the front, and they're usually playing, the soloist is playing some kind of 9-foot concert grand. And then you have the orchestra behind them, who could consist of 40, 50 musicians, sometimes more. And so you really need a pianist and a piano who can sing and still be the focal point, even though they have so many instrumentalists supporting them. Now, I recently played the Beethoven Piano Concerto with an orchestra, and when I was practicing for it, every time I was in a practice room with an upright, I kind of shied away from touching any kind of cadenza or loud section on the upright because, quite frankly, most of them are not set up to be able to play a cadenza, a concerto, because I felt like I would break the piano before I got the big sound that I needed. Now, it's interesting because this K52 piano behind me is one that I feel pretty comfortable playing a cadenza on, and I'm able to get that loud sound, that big sound that I need from this piano without feeling like I'm going to break it. In fact, it's definitely because the strings are just so big. As I mentioned, this is a 52-inch upright piano, and it's huge as far as uprights go, and because the strings are so long, you're able to get that really big sound. So I'll play a little bit of the cadenza for you, and you'll get to hear that kind of sound that comes from it. So now that you've just heard my cadenza, I'll let you know that as fun as it was playing it on a concert grand and with 60 people on stage with me, with the orchestra, I would be pretty comfortable playing this instrument with a chamber orchestra behind me, maybe a dozen or 20 people on stage, which is incredible to say about an upright piano because that's just not really something that uprights are typically able to do. So it's pretty cool that I can get that kind of sound quality from this instrument. Now, I've played Mozart, I've played Beethoven, we've talked classical, we've talked the beginning of the Romantic period. Now I'm going to play something that's pretty well known and very special to the Steinway & Sons K52 piano. I'm going to play some Beatles music for you so that you can get a taste of what this piano was doing back in, the middle of the 20th century. I hope you love this piano, and please come in if this is your forever piano. Come in and see us. Send us an email or give us a call. We'd be happy to help.